Cheers to, we'll call it the calm before the storm, this indecisive and weirdly calm market on this lovely Wednesday retail trading team. This is your routine briefing. Got a sip for cheers. I need to probably put a post-it note on my computer or something. Otherwise, it's not a proper salute. Anyway, so just jumping right into the action today, looking at the warm-up. Nothing really has happened so far. I've had one trade that got stopped. Nothing crazy, 10 points. We're just kind of hanging out here. You can see if you look at my 10-minute chart, which we'll go back to in a second, levels are super tight. So there's five of my six relevant levels are within a 20-point range. Is that within a 20-point range? And so what that's telling me is we're looking at a indecisive market so far, and there's a lot to kind of get through. As I speak here, I just got a signal, so we'll see. That was actually a pretty big signal, 3 contracts, so we'll see how that works there. But just going into the warm up, so we'll pop back to the charts there in a second. What I want to point out is just the 3 metrics that we look at: that overnight inventory, the first 30 open, and that TPO. So overnight inventory, really nothing to talk about there, just neutral, balanced. Just everyone was waiting for whatever catalyst may have possibly reared its head today, and so far we're not seeing anything. You're seeing that neutral look where there's uncertainty after the trend, and you see that speed and aggression away from the edges until price either moves into kind of that normal variation look where we do get that extension, or just closes near some other extreme. So we'll see what happens there. I keep oscillating between that normal variation and neutral TPO look, so we'll just have to see what plays out for the rest of the day. And it's kind of supported by the first 30 that we saw as an open rejection reverse. It was tentatively bullish, but again, no specific direction. So this document, as with all the other links, is available in the description of this video, so you can come warm up with me here and check out the other option strategies and management if that's what you're into. And you can also see and keep tabs on Barb, which is my futures strategy. So Barb is all I'm trading lately, and that keeps everything simple, I think. So just kind of looking at our levels today, again, you can see 97 to 80. Those are really the most important. I think the most important. That's not showing my chart. 1 second. I'm not sure that level's correct, so just stand by real quick. Just confirm. Yeah, so 4001, not 97. So my apologies there. 97, I believe, is the OR high, so I need to add one more here, 4001. And then we're good to go. I'm watching for a pop above that, and for us to open things up here just momentarily. So just do some adjustments. So we make this move. Oops, wrong chart. Okay, so stand by. Hit 4003. I do have another entry popping in here. Just want to make sure I am available if they give it to us. Okay, I'm watching that out of my eyes, so if I just stop talking, that's what's going on there. So yeah, so this is our warm-up again. Everything's simplified, and you can just kind of see what we're looking at today. Again, nothing really too crazy going on yet. It's looking like we may potentially move to normal variation if we can get this extension beyond that overnight high, so watching that closely. Just moving on from the warm-up, we're going to go right into the charts and look at the most important happenings and price action for today. So again, if I seem a little distracted, I'm watching. I have a position on my 10-minute chart that just got triggered, and we're looking to potentially add at that 4003 level. So still going to give you a good briefing though. Just like I said, if I'm a little distracted, that's what's going on there. So trendline land, to me, everything is still bullish. We had that move obviously yesterday that created a nice little supply zone. I don't know what you call those candles, but whatever those candles are called, that does create a nice little supply zone there. So obviously the bulls do have a little bit of work to do to get back into that dominant stance. Yeah, as long as we're above those trend lines, as long as VIX is where it is, which we'll look at in a second, in my opinion, you have to assume that we are still in a bullish type market. Obviously, it's not a bull market until I don't know what the official, do we have to make a new high, whatever that is. Yeah, sentiment wise, I think everything's pretty bullish. You can see this demand zone is very large. In my opinion, it's, you know, I know it's like 500 points, but that's really just how much support I think the bulls have. Obviously, you know, any type of tail event or really anything can knock the price down. Yet just looking at it, not trying to crystal ball it, just kind of looking at the current positioning, looks to me pretty bullish. I'm about to get this ad. Stand by. Okay, slowly building this position. Um, so let's see. Besides that, uh, oh, okay. So if you look at a SPY chart, which I don't have on here, we are still below the trend line from the bottom there. So my friend and favorite bear, Tim Knight, says that he thinks we're kind of entering that bear stance again. So that is something to watch on the SPY chart. Just kind of see how we treat that trend line. Obviously, we have to get through that before we can call it a bull market again. So, for in his opinion, but again, I just keep it simple. Let's look at the ES chart, trend lines from the bottom. As long as we're above them, calling it a bull. So sounding like a broken record, I don't really need to harp on that too much. So that's kind of the price action chart. You can see the major levels there, and you can see we're kind of still navigating this MGI cluster, trying to get back above that yearly VWAP and trying to get back above that 50 SMA as well. So taking any trades that come yet, we're definitely still have a lot to get through before I think breaking out back to the upside. Um, and definitely before breaking out to the downside too. It's probably, I shouldn't say probably, but it might be one of those choppy days, especially because the news didn't move us yet. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. So moving on from the macro chart, we're going to hop into the TPO, give us a little more granular look of what's going on there. Okay. So TPO land, the poor high just got taken out. So we had a poor high there this morning that was near that overnight high that got taken out, and so that's no longer relevant. That's good for the bulls. There's no longer weak hands to worry about there. So what I'm really looking at is that B-shaped distribution that you see from earlier in the week. It's a really pronounced one, that lowercase b shape, which tends to signify longs exiting the market. We'll see. Those longs exiting the market did not knock us below those major trend lines, and even today so far, we're seeing that retrace a little bit of yesterday's move. It is a green day, nothing significant yet, so it's kind of a battle of, I think, the uh, long-term buy the dip crowd, so long-term bullish look versus this intermediate term uh, signs of longs exiting the market. We'll see what happens there. I'm just kind of watching this profile, and especially as we pop higher to that 40-15 level, see if the bulls can push above or get rejected there. So there's plenty of resistance all the way up. So for my levels, I'm just looking at overnight high, overnight low, 15-minute high, 15-minute low, opening range, and prior day high, prior day low. Yet there's plenty of other levels to navigate before we have that breakout move, I think. So that's kind of the main thing on the TPO, is watching that lowercase b-shaped distribution, the signs of longs exiting the market, to see if that holds or if we do squeeze back up. And the most important level for me in this is obviously that 40-15. But then again, if the bulls do push it higher, what happens around the single that we created when we started that sell-off yesterday? So prior day high is going to be particularly important, and going forward when it's no longer the prior day high, just what happens around that level is going to be important. So moving on from that, you can just look at our various MGI for the day, the first being that prior day high. Yet if we do reverse and go to the downside, I'm watching this current naked POC untested area of 39.90 on this session's profile. And then below that, just those various singles. You got about 70, 55-ish, really 50 to 55 I think is decent demand. And then below that, 25. So that's the downside targets if we do start to turn around today. and that's what I'm looking at on the TPO. So finally, checking out our volatility chart. Again, not much going on here yet today. I think the most important thing that we saw was that divergence this morning when we made that slightly lower low on the news release at around 10. You did not see volatility make a higher high. In fact, it made a lower high and is now selling off once again. So just kind of looking at that volatility chart, it's very clear we're still in a downtrend there. We have not even tested either of these descending trend lines. We're kind of hovering above that important 1960 level from yesterday, yet no breakout signs there. It's really taking into account what's going on in volatility, taking into account what's going on with the trend lines. Again, same assumption that the bear market, it was a cyclical bear market that concluded on October 13th, 2022, and that we're kind of just going to either move sideways for a while or mosey on higher there. And again, it's all about those trend lines. At least to me, it's all about those trend lines. It's all about um, volatility and watching for any sustained move there. We're just not seeing the sustained move. And yeah, so that's what's going on in volatility land. So I think everything we're seeing today, the moral of the story, supports CHOP, supports potential extensions above or beyond the IBR, which is very narrow today. So if we can actually go ahead and look at that, it's solidified at about 25. Yep, IBR solidified at 25. Let me make sure we did not make that high before 10:30. Yep. So narrow look, neutral profile, looking for chop. I will play my strategy by the book. Could definitely be a losing day. It's not looking too great so far. Yet I'm going to keep it by the book, and you can find exactly what that strategy is in the description of this video. Again, with all the other relevant links. So I'm going to move this live stream to Twitch now. If you want to come hang out and just kind of watch what goes on live, I'm not going to be talking unless you're talking to me. I'll interact in the chat. And otherwise, I will be playing a live DJ set from 12 to 2 for any electronic music fans who love my rough transitions. Or any rough transitions, really. So as always, please feel free to tweet at Routine Trader with your thoughts. I will keep anybody updated on Twitter with any developments throughout the day. I'll post one tweet to link to the newsletter that's going to be coming out at 11, just kind of summarizing everything. Yet if we continue doing what we're doing and just kind of moving away from the edges, I'm not really going to be too active on there. Just there's no point in wasting your time until something changes. But keep posted on there. That is where I will post any updates if you start to see any movement in the market. Finally, subscribers can, let's go to this so you can watch me get stopped out for those of you who like Schadenfreude. Very good. Subscribers can respond to any newsletter, and also feel free to pop any questions into the comment section of this video. So one last time, links to everything are in the description, and we can go from there. So if you did enjoy today's content, I know it's a fairly boring and straightforward video, yet I still appreciate that like because it does help with YouTube's algorithm. And besides that, it's time to trade. We'll see what happens with this move. We'll see if they give me the good old stop out or if we get some type of extension. Yet, like I've been saying, I'm expecting chop throughout the day. So we will take what they give us and do everything we can. And besides that, yeah, thanks for watching and stay classy until we meet again tomorrow.